Ho, 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 how's everybody doing on this spooky Christmas? This is so stupid. How's everyone doing out there tonight? I am a part of the Cinefanatics with my brother who's not here because we're talking about horror movies. My name's Robert Adams. And yeah, welcome to the Marquee. We are tier ranking Christmas horror movies. Joining me tonight are my special guests, Andres Gallego. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing quite well. I'm in the spirit of Christmas, if you will, right now. So great.
Awesome. And also joining us would be Lego. Lego, how are you?
I'm pretty great, and I'm here to talk about Christmas murder.
That we are talking about. Real quick, before we get going, I forgot to plug in my headphones, and previously while doing this, everyone heard an echo, so I'm going to stop that right now before it happens. Everyone in the chat, how are y'all doing tonight? Vamp. Oh, wait, the chat can't vamp. That's kind of weird for the chat to vamp. Okay.
Anyways.
Wait, you're saying the chat's all vampires?
Yeah. I'm actually really surprised. There's no like Christmas vampire horror movies, are there? I don't think so. Where's Bibbs when you?
I think the closest that can come to one of them is 30 Days a Night, but that's only because it takes place in the winter. But that's about it.
Yeah.
I would have gone with those Hotel Transylvania movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because they're family oriented.
Yeah. Anyways, those of y'all that are watching, again, thank y'all for being here at the top of this show. Y'all have any questions, comments, issues, complaints, streamlabs.com/cinefanatics. That would be a good place to get those questions, comments, and complaints in. I will be watching those as the show's going on and reading those off. So if you have any input, feel free to add to it. We're also going to do something new right off the bat for the first time on this Marquee. Typically, those of you watching, you're not able to know what movies we're tier ranking until you see it pop up on the Marquee board. We're doing something a little different tonight. I'm going to show you all the movies we're ranking right now. Here you go. Here's all 14 of the movies that we are tier ranking tonight. If y'all want to grab a screenshot or jot it down real quick, if you would like, create your own tier ranking on this and submit that through the Streamlabs. And I will read that off at the end of us ranking. So we'll see how your ranking would compare to ours that we're doing. This episode tonight, we will not be polling the audience because we got 3 of us on stream. So there's not going to be a poll running. It's just going to be the 3 of us. And then if you would like to get your input in, write these down, order them however you like, and throw that into Streamlabs. And if y'all want those again, let me know and I can post them. Anyways, also available, I'm trying to get my train of thought on board here. Patreon.com/cinefanatics. If you feel the need to support us, if you think we are worthy of your support and your bank account can support it, please consider hopping on a tier that is good for you. Patreon.com/cinefanatics. Otherwise, let's get this thing started off first with going over the rules. Hey, is Johnny here? Can Johnny read the rules? Here's the rules. Johnny?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Robert. The rules tonight are, with 14 movies, at least 2 films per tier. You can have 2 tiers that also have 3 films. Thank you. Yes, again, reading the rules is my pride and joy. And Robert, just in case you thought you were going to get away without an insult, you look like a cross between Santa Claus and Freddy Krueger's knee pit. Back to you.
What's a knee pit?
It's like an armpit, but for the knee.
Oh, okay. That makes...
All right, we'll give it to you.
Yeah, sure.
Had a rough day. Get off of me.
Bye, Johnny. Thank you for stopping by, Johnny. Maybe see you after I'm done with this stream so we can talk about future things going on with Cinefanatics. Anyways, moving on. What else do we have to go on? Y'all like Christmas horror movies, right?
Yes.
I've seen a couple of them, maybe 1 or 2 during Christmas.
Lego,
but no, I'm kidding.
Lego's just losing her mind when I talk about this.
Dude, Santa Jaws, one of the best movies ever.
Santa Jaws isn't on here. What is Santa Jaws?
Santa Jaws is a great movie, and you don't watch enough shark films.
I've never heard of that movie until now.
I'm asking what is Santa Jaws, and I feel like that's one of those that if you just take half a second, you can figure out what it is.
I mean, is it one of the best bad shark movies out there? Yes. Made by Misty Tilley. One of the best bad shark movie directors out there. Cornering the market.
Is this a part of the Sharknado franchise?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not at all.
So
no, I think they're done.
It has a chance to be good, is what you're saying.
Good's a matter of perspective, like some of these films.
Yeah. That's the one thing I like about Christmas horror movies is very likely you're going to find like a new favorite bad movie. Most of these movies on any other ranking, most of these movies would probably just go straight to F. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah. It's pretty much just depending on how much you like your level of liking them or what nostalgia you have tied to them, I would say, more than anything else.
Yeah. These are very low. A lot of these are very low budget, low quality, low story. It's just like, hey, let's make a killer Santa Claus. Sure enough, let's do that. And that's what we get on a lot of these. But yeah. Anyways, I want to get to this because I'm eager to hear both of y'all's opinions on some of these, especially the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies, because I feel like that's the cornerstone of pivotal Christmas horror talk.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's go ahead and get Carl out here to bring out the marquee board. Carl, hit it. That song, like, I don't know what song I picked for that, but it's really catchy.
I always forget whenever he's about to come on. I'm like, oh, it's always like a nice little reminder that he's coming on and just giving us the go ahead.
Do y'all know what movie that's from?
It's an Ivan Reitman movie, isn't it?
No.
Oh,
I don't think I've seen it. That's not an image I'm familiar
It's
with.
The Majestic with Jim Carrey.
Not seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. It's not a Christmas horror, but it is a good movie. Guys, here is the marquee board. For those of y'all not familiar with how this works, this is a tier ranking show. If you're familiar with tier ranking, basically we've got 6 different tiers. We're going from S standing for superb or shit, this is a damn good movie, all the way down to F, which is like failure, flunk, or fuck this movie, like all the hell. So basically this is how the ranking is going to work. If you remember what Johnny said, there's going to be at least 2 movies for each level, for each tier. 2 of these 6 tiers are allowed to have 3 movies. So yeah, wherever we're going to place them, that's where they're going to go. At the very end of this, after we get through all 14 movies, there will be one last minute, like, let's shuffle this a bit, shuffle it around, just in case we're not happy with the placement of where some of these wound up. Yeah, anyways, that's how this is going to go. And let me check one more thing. Cool. Let's get started with the very first one. This is, for the most part, in chronological order, according to years. I might mess up on the months when they were released, but years at least. First one, right off the bat, is the original 1974 Black Christmas. And we are going to start with Lego.
Ah, perfect. You want to talk about a prototype slasher? This is it. You want to talk about holiday horror? First one. This film, it didn't create necessarily the tropes, but it started to create tropes that Halloween in 1978 would go on to cement into the horror movie genre. This movie is so good. The cinematography is amazing. The acting isn't great, but the guy who plays the killer does a phenomenal job on the voices that he's doing throughout the film as he's calling people to terrorize them. The story is pretty simple and is executed very well. I deeply love this film. It's just, I mean, if you love horror movies, you kind of have to love this film for what it did for the genre. And by having it be this dark film that takes place on Christmas and subverting that like safe space of Christmas, it really set up the genre that for all these movies we're going to be talking about tonight. However, if only 2 movies are for the most part going in each of these things, I'm going to have to put this one in A tier, though it does kill me a little bit to do so.
Oh, interesting. All right, Andres.
You know what? I couldn't agree with you more on just all the positives about this movie. I mean, like there's even certain shots in this film, just the way it's executed by the cinematographer and like following the perspective of the killer as he's climbing up the side of the house. Like even to this day, I'm like, how did they do that without CG, without any of the stuff that we have today? And they were able to do it back in 1974. And to go on your point about the killer. Fun fact about when that killer calls up is that they actually had different actors play that role on the phone just to sort of even on a subconscious level confuse the audience and the cast members as well. So, I mean, honestly, this movie, for me, it's a masterpiece. So I'd be so remiss to not put it in S. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put it in the S ranking for me.
Awesome. I have to agree with all that. This is like an early slasher. This is before Halloween. This is before Friday the 13th, before slashers really came into their own. It's a really good, tight story. I like the fact that most of this movie takes place only at the sorority house, something that is going to be greatly lacking later on in the Black Christmas series. But yeah, the way it was all set and shot was beautiful. The voice on the phone is extremely creepy. Like everything that they're saying is super, super dark and creepy. I loved it. I really, really like, I'm agreeing with Nerd here. Margot Kidder was really good. And this was pre-Superman. This was before before she got the role as Lois Lane. And I actually wouldn't doubt if this performance is kind of what helped her nail that Lois Lane, because she's got that snarky attitude, like when she tells the cop at the police station to dial fellatio. That was so great. The other thing I like to point out with this is this movie was directed by Bob Clark. Also known for directing another very classic Christmas movie, that being A Christmas Story. So weird to go from one side to the other. He likes Christmas, but he likes like the darker side of Christmas, because even like in A Christmas Story, Santa was dark and creepy and evil. Even it was a mall Santa who just hated kids, but I mean still. Yeah, this is a good movie, but I have to agree with Andres because of how much this movie means to the horror genre in general, and also looking at the other movies we have on this list. I will give this one an S. Which means we've got an A, an S, and an S. We've got an S right off the bat. I need to figure out like some kind of graphic that if this ever happens, we just have something that flashes up and bells, sirens go off. We got an S. Yeah. So with 2 S's and an A, that'll put this like right at the very end of S. Will S have 3? I don't know. We'll see.
It might have 3.
I mean, again, given the level of quality of some of these movies.
Again, some of them.
So real quick behind the scenes, I was actually piecing together like where I would organize all these movies, like making my little notes for me to refer to during this. And there is a very, very hard line between the movies that I absolutely really like and the ones that are absolutely garbage day. So it's going to be, I can't remember exactly where it's at, but I'll see it on here for like probably towards the end. I'll be like, that's where the line's drawn right there.
If I had to make an early prediction, because of the fact that we're going to have 2 categories that are going to be 3s, I have a prediction that S is going to be 3 and then F is going to be 3 at some point.
That's usually what I think. That's not how I have my notes on here, but I have a feeling it could potentially go that way.
That's close to what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next one, we're going to start with Andres. We're going to start with Christmas Evil.
Oh, see, for me, this movie, it was kind of, I mean, like, it had all the elements that I really wanted in a Christmas horror movie, but ultimately for me, just sort of the execution just kind of was a little lacking. It was just very middle of the road for me. So for me, I would have to go with a C. Like, the kills are not necessarily too inspired. They're all, like, Black Christmas had some truly horrifying moments and sequences, whereas this sort of goes more into sort of that nihilistic campy side, if that makes sense. And you can't really take it seriously. So it's very middle of the road for me. So for me, it'd be a C.
Yeah. Yeah, this one I thought was just really dull and slow. Lego, earlier you posted on Twitter, you're like, yeah, so I tried watching one of these movies at 1.5 and it was still slow. Like, there's a couple on here. I'm kind of curious as to which one you did that with. This almost would have been one of those if it wasn't for the fact that the beginning of this movie sets up the personality of the lead. It sets it up pretty well. Like, you feel bad for this guy, but then his cheese slides off his cracker, basically. And he just goes crazy. To Garth, take a drink every time you see Santa holding an. Don't do that. You will die of alcohol poisoning tonight, guaranteed.
Which, good to see you, Garth. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah. But yeah, did you know that the lead guy in this is actually the father of Fiona Apple?
No.
Yeah. I thought that was super weird. This movie also had some like really weird cameos in it. Like, his brother is what's his face, who's like in every Stephen King movie adaptation.
Oh, yeah.
He was in Shawshank Redemption, The Mist, Green Mile. He was Dale in Walking Dead.
Oh,
I forgot his name. I know his name, and I completely forgot it. Jeffrey DeMunn. Yeah,
there you go. I was like, he's one of the last. He's the last person. He's one of the last people to get to survive at the end of The Mist. Or
yeah.
So yeah.
And then it also has Patricia Richardson, who was Jill Taylor in Home Improvement. She's in this. And then the actor who played was it Tio Salmanaka or whatever from Breaking Bad? He was also Ace Ventura's landlord. Ventura. Yes, Satan?
Yes.
Yeah, he's in this in a cameo also. It's just really weird off-the-wall cameos that pop up in this movie. Otherwise,
everyone's got to start somewhere.
Yeah. This movie is slow, dull, barely anything happens. There's a couple of chuckles that I had with this, like the naughty boy, he marks his house by pressing his face and hands covered in mud. No reason given why he does that. It's just completely off the wall. So I have this as a D.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. Lego.
Yeah, so this movie is a slow descent into madness for the main character. He is a walking red flag from the get-go. He's a grown man just like spying on these children, writing down whether or not they're naughty or nice. It's absolutely horrifying. But I mean, it is a very slow-paced film. It's, fairly dull. Not a lot happens in the film. The story does work, though. It makes perfect sense as it's going through. I thought the acting was fine. I did feel bad for the little boy that he considered naughty, because clearly his mom is just really awful to him. It's not his fault. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I mean, it's a fine movie. Honestly, I didn't find it super memorable. Like, I know I watched it, and there's not a lot of moments that stand out in the movie to me. So honestly, I would probably just put it in C. Being pretty middle of the road film.
Okay. It's one of those things because I agree with both of you that not a lot of stuff in this works, but all the ingredients are there. But the thing is that it didn't offend me. It didn't necessarily make me feel like I wasted my time. It was almost just like, it had some promise, but that's about it. So yeah, like lower C I would be okay with more than anything else.
So this one we got CDC. So that's a true testament to the quality of this movie. The naughty boy, his mom that you were mentioning, that's Jill Taylor from Home Improvement. Next one, we're gonna start with me, which yay, because this is one of two that I'm super eager to talk about, and that is the first Silent Night, Deadly Night. Yes, Garth. There's a Santa holding an axe. Take a drink.
Take another drink.
Or Garth, in this case, saline, whatever.
Whatever beverage you have, buddy.
Whatever beverage you can get. So the Silent Night, Deadly Night, at least the first two. And I will go ahead and say it's only the first two that are on this list, and that remake in 2012, the remake, whatever. I did not put Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, 4, or 5 on here because they really don't have anything to do with Christmas.
No, not at all.
The third one, he's wearing the Santa Claus hat, and that's about it. And I think the fifth one, has Mickey Rooney in it, and he's a toy maker that makes toys for Christmas, something like that. It's just, I don't know. Those movies are weird.
Well, those later sequels, I mean, like, they were direct-to-video movies, and then just to sort of even give it a slight chance that it might make a little bit of money, basing it off the popularity of the first one, at least, and how bad the second one was by legend at that point in time, they're like, you know what, we might as well, is there something Christmas-related? Is there something with toys or children in any way, shape, or form? Yeah, let's slap the title Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Anyways, so for my notes on this one, I've got it's a terrible movie. The first Silent Night, Deadly Night is an absolutely awful movie. It has a cheap look. It has a cheap feel. Hold on, Lego. Hold on. Has a cheap look and feel. Terrible acting. Line delivery is just way out there. I will say, for line delivery, though, this does have one of my favorite line deliveries of the entire series. And it's the part where Billy is talking to Mr. Sims, the manager of the toy store he works at. And they're having a holiday party. So Mr. Sims is drunk. This wouldn't happen nowadays. Those of y'all in the chat, yes, I do know where he's going. Means. I'll clarify here in a little bit. But there's a part where they're talking and Mr. Sims is like, so how are you? And he's like, oh, I'm thinking about my parents. He's like, good. A boy should think about his parents on Christmas. He's like, they're dead. And Mr. Sims immediately like, oh, like it's so, you can feel like he's drunk, but he realizes how awkward the whole situation is. And typically you don't verbalize or show that awkwardness like that in normal conversation. And he does, and it's hilarious. There's some weird off the wall side plots, like the guy and the girl having sex on a pool table in a log cabin. And
Linnea Quigley.
It is Linnea Quigley, and she has like easily one of the best deaths in the movie because she gets impaled on antlers. Love it. But then there's also the kids that are sledding. Like, none of this has anything to do with the movie. They are purely there to fill time. And if you want to talk about filling time in a Silent Night, Deadly Night movie, wait till we get part 2.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Anyways, all of that being said, how terrible this movie is, it is so good. This movie is easily one of those, it is so bad, it is good. The musical montage, the song is off the wall. The song has no place being in a movie like this. And I love it. I love this movie. It is so stupid. It is so crappy, but I absolutely adore this movie. This is an A. I put this as an A for me. Lego.
Well, I also put it in an A. I'll get that right off the bat. But I think I speak I feel about this film much more highly than Robert does, apparently. I think this is a legitimately pretty good film. But I think I just watch so much more trash than everyone else. Maybe I have a skewed view. I mean, I think for me, what's most important about a movie is if I'm entertained. This movie, I rewatch this. Like, I come back to this. This movie is so much fun. There's, for me, not a moment that I'm bored. It does have a phenomenal Linnea Quigley death scene. And I think in terms of, like, story, I really felt for Billy. Like, this movie made me really empathize with the killer. And I really wanted him to get back at Mother Superior.
Mm-hmm.
We find out what happens to her later. But yeah, I think this is a perfectly good film. Like, I'm not saying it's, something that is a phenomenally well-made film. But in terms of story, I mean, heck yeah, A+. You get a seal of approval. Way to go, Silent Night, Deadly Night. And way to go, Billy. Way to go, Billy.
This movie was on the right side of the law.
Oh, Jesus.
God, that song.
But I will say, I was so disappointed in myself for when I was watching the film. I saw Linnea Quigley run up the stairs, and I definitely did recognize her based on her back.
I thought you were going to say, yep, I recognize those boobs.
Oh, I was, yeah, essentially.
I mean, if you're going to say it for me, go right ahead.
Why does she open the door naked? Like, what?
Name a movie with Linnea Quigley where she's not topless.
I
dare you.
It's not possible.
I don't think it's there.
She had a split-second cameo in one of the Nightmare on Elm Streets, and it's her topless.
Wait, what?
Yeah, as the nurse in 3, right?
No, it's not that one. It's one of the ones. I can't remember if it's like 4 or 5. There's a part where Freddy lifts up his shirt or whatever, and you see like all the souls in him, the soul is pushing itself out, and so the skin stretches where it's transparent. It's her. She's pushing herself out, and she's like coming out like chest forward. So you see her face, her head, and her upper torso. Yeah. It is so weird. But even in a split-second cameo covered in Freddy's skin, she's still topless.
Probably 5, Dream Child, I think.
I think it is.
I think
that would answer why I don't remember it so well.
I think that is the Rennie Harlan one, so that's the 4th one, because that's the one after they didn't recast Patricia Arquette, I think. Anyways, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Garth got it. Yeah, it's the 4th one.
There we go.
Tory boobs in a horror movie? They would never.
Well, it's very specifically for Linnea Quigley. She has her own trope.
Yeah.
It works for the most part.
Anyways, Andres.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both of you on this, but my enjoyment coming out of this feels more like it's tethered to the nostalgia of watching this movie when I was younger and just being like, this is sort of like if you crossed like a slasher film with sort of Batman tropes here and there, but you set it behind Christmas. I mean, with just the fact that he witnesses his parents murdered in the very beginning of the movie by his Santa Claus, you're kind of like, all right, I buy it just a little bit. All right, so, but anyway, it fully gets you on board with Billy right from the very beginning, and without going into too many spoilers, especially what happens at the end. Yeah, no, this is absolutely a fun movie. It's not great, but it's not supposed to be high art. It's Silent Night, Deadly Night. It is what it is. So yeah, for me, this is definitely an A picture.
Oh, thank you for keeping it easy.
I see Jen in the chat right there. Yep, you were going to watch every single one of these at some point.
Well, after the second one, like, start trying to think up excuses to get out of it.
Oh my goodness.
So this one got a AAA. So far, we're doing great with these letters tonight, y'all.
we're all in somewhat agreement so far. I think it's just going to be like, we're going to be moving stuff around, I think, depending on our relatability to some of these. I think quite a few of them are probably going to go into F maybe, but who knows? Let's see.
And so real quick, I'm going to bring this back up because we got a lot more people watching now than we did when starting. If y'all want to know what else we're tier ranking, here's all the movies that we're about to be running through. So if you want to jot it down, if you want to see where like a potential favorite of yours is going to show up on this, these are the ones that are yet to come. Of course, obviously that means the next one we're moving on to is going to be the Gremlins. So that being said, let's move on. That's the wrong one. Well, that looked weird.
The Gremlins are destroying the stream.
The Gremlins, yeah. Anyways, so we are moving on. We're going to start with Lego.
Oh, man. I do love Gremlins. I love Mogwai. I wish we had more Mogwai other than Gizmo, but I love Gizmo. The Gremlins is such a fun movie. I mean, what kid didn't want a Mogwai growing up? Even with the risks.
I know what happens to them. And my ass wasn't responsible enough for that. So
I still don't understand like the Wizard of Oz references in the movie. I keep watching it thinking, I'm going to get it this time. And I never do. Maybe someone will explain it to me one day. But it's just a fun movie. The look of the movie is great. The feel of the movie is great. I think in terms of like age range, really anyone can watch this movie. So it is a really good like entryway for like kids to get into holiday horror, which is maybe not a good thing. I don't know. I turned out fine, I think. I mean, this is what is not S tier about this movie? It is just a perfect little film. And again, Gizmo is great. Now, do I like Gremlins 2 more than Gremlins? Yes.
Yes.
Because Rick Baker. But that's neither here nor there.
Take me to church on that one, but keep going.
Joe Dante doesn't go wrong. He doesn't.
Yeah. Andres.
Oh, for me, this is easily an S tier movie. This would probably sit on the tippy top of all these movies that we have. I mean, Gremlins is one of my all-time favorite movies ever, and just even the practical effects that they're doing on each of the Gremlins, the storyline, and like this is one of those movies that like truly made me kind of go like I remember wanting a dog when I was a kid, and then this movie kind of made me go, maybe having a dog's a little too much responsibility, but not as much responsibility as owning a Mogwai. But when it's freaking Gizmo, you just want them. I mean, hell, I'll even take a Gremlin. Those Gremlins look like they're having a great time, though. But yeah, for as hilarious and irreverent as this movie is, it so captures the spirit of Christmas in so many respects. Where it's like, it's all about family, it's all about togetherness, and it's all about just like just trying to make certain things work and just dealing with the chaos that the Gremlins come into. It is a perfect film. It straddles that fine line between horror and comedy so well. There's certain moments that definitely do seem like they would definitely traumatize kids, like the story with the dad, of course. But you need to break some eggs a little bit. So this movie, tippy top of the S tier for me.
That dad story is how I learned there was no Santa.
Oh my God.
So flashback real quick to Silent Night, Deadly Night. You want to talk about the traumatizing like father, the grandfather in that one that's like catatonic until the parents leave, and he's like, Christmas time is the scariest damn time of the year. Like that was traumatizing right there. But I love that actor. Yeah, the one in Gremlins is also really good. But I love the Silent Night, Deadly Night one. I agree with everything. There's no reason for me to elaborate on this. This is quite possibly easily the most popular, the most well-made movie. Well, I don't know about well-made. That's debatable in some cases. But yeah, this is easily the most liked movie on this list. This is going to go the tippy top.
Yeah.
And it's probably not going to move. Let's just be honest. It's Gremlins.
It better not move.
Yeah. I agree. I actually did have this down as an S tier as well, so I don't foresee it changing from there because we're all saying S. So
yeah, the only one without the ass.
The only one without the ass. Gremlins does not have the ass. The second Gremlins does have the ass, though. Let's just make that clear, okay? Yeah.
Gotta love Greta. Gotta love Greta.
I do love Greta. I just don't like it when you do Greta. Thanks. Just don't do that again. That'd be great.
Why won't you commit?
All right, and then let me see. We're gonna go with Andres. Back to our favorite franchise so far, Silent Night, Deadly Night 2,
God
with
damn.
Ricky.
Oh my God!
Hey kids, what day is it today?
It's
Garbage day.
Ha ha ha! Oh,
Gotta get that eyebrow acting in.
Yeah, garbage day. Yeah.
See, here's the thing. For me, this movie only exists for the YouTube moments. But if there was a worse movie than Silent Night, Deadly Night, it would be this one most definitely. I would actually put this as a it would be a high C for me. I mean, like Silent Night, Deadly Night, at least they knew what they were doing, whereas this one just kind of feels a little the for lack of a better word, the craft is not there at all, I think. So this would be like a high C for me, unfortunately.
Hey, this one knew what it was doing, and what it knew it was doing was recapping the first movie.
Wait, you guys do know why they did that, right?
Yeah, because they wanted to tie it back to that, and
Nope.
What?
So they were actually going to re-release the first one because the first one was actually making a lot of money when it was originally released, but it only got to be in theaters for like a week or two before they had to pull it.
Yeah.
So they were going to re-release it. So they decided to put in a little money and then just shoot a few more minutes of additional footage for it. But instead, they just decided to film a lot more footage for it and call it Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. And that's how you got that. So it was really just supposed to be like a cash making thing.
No, that makes so much sense to me now because, like, honestly, this movie sort of had like that, for lack of a better word, that Anchorman Wake Up Ron Burgundy feel, where it's a whole bunch of disjointed scenes, and it feels like a movie made up of nothing but deleted scenes. So that's kind of where I'm like, the story is kind of.
It's kind of like the Deadpool,
Once Upon a Deadpool.
Yes, that kind of like that. But instead, they didn't call that Deadpool 3 because it's not.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. No, that would have caused revolution. But anyway, oh my God.
Yeah, this movie's good though. Like, even though, like, if you don't get what we're saying, if you're not familiar with this movie, the first like 45 minutes of this movie is this new character, Ricky, who is the younger brother of Billy, is recapping for like a psychiatrist, like all of the first movie. The first 45 minutes of this movie is him recapping the first movie, and it's awful. There is a couple of good parts in this. Also, real quick, in the first movie, Ricky is an infant. And in this movie, Ricky is telling the story of like, I don't know why mom and dad pulled over and tried to help the Santa. You were an infant. You don't know shit. How are you remembering when you were an infant? But he's telling the story like he had full awareness. And that's one of the quirks of this movie. I think my other than the garbage day, my other favorite line on this is the when he sees the psychiatrist or whatever, writes down red car. And he looks over at him and he's like right in his face, like, red car. Good point. This movie is so good. It's so awful that it's good. Even the recap, the whole 45-minute recap is still good. Especially he's like, am I wasting your time? Yeah, you're recapping the first movie.
So they know. They know.
Yeah. This movie is a delight. And then, yeah, when it gets to the part where he just starts his rampage through the neighborhood, the infamous garbage day, it's good. I highly recommend it. I do have this also as an A.
Okay.
What did you, wait, Andres, did you say what letter you had it at? You said
yeah,
C,
I had it.
Right? High C.
I had it C, high C for me.
All right. Lego.
Okay, well, I also have it at A. And I'm gonna keep defending the recap. this was in the 80s. Home video was not what it is today. You couldn't just stream it. So if you didn't catch the first one, which was only in theaters for a week, you probably did need that recap. That was probably some people's first time experiencing Silent Night, Deadly Night. I think they had a good idea. They just had a terrible director was the problem. The director just kept telling the actor who played Ricky more, but he didn't say more what. So he just kept wiggling his eyebrows throughout the whole movie. It's lovely. I just think this movie's fun. And I do very much like the idea they had. It's just unfortunate execution.
Yeah.
There's a pun there. Lots of murders. Mother Superior finally gets what she has coming to her, which is great. I really like Ricky and Billy, and I wish they would do legitimate remakes of these, because I think that there is a really good story here. And I did love that to solve all of Ricky's problems, he was set up to be adopted by a Jewish family so he wouldn't have to deal with Christmas. That was thinking.
I remember that.
That was thinking.
Yeah.
No, they were naughty. So good. Oh, anyways.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, moving on to what's easily, and I haven't seen Vernon in the chat yet, but easily one of Vernon's favorites. 1997, not 1998, but 1997's Jack Frost. Oh, and we're starting with me. Yay. I'm sorry in advance, Vernon. I know you love this movie. This movie is this is a terrible movie. This isn't terrible like Silent Night, Deadly Night 1 and 2. This is just flat out terrible. The effects are terrible. The acting is terrible. There's nothing redeeming about this movie at all. Even the cover, like the first cover I saw was this image, this weird, like demonic snowman looking face. This is not what Jack Frost looks like in the movie. This movie would have been much better had he actually looked like that. No, he looks like a very generic styrofoam snowman that, like, the puppetry on it doesn't work as far as him talking. He's not scary looking at all. The most evil thing they do to him is make his, like, snow eyebrows, like, furrow a bit, and that's about it.
Hey, he does get teeth at one point.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't look like this. They don't look like that. Like, yeah.
But speaking about Blockbuster, real quick, did you ever see the VHS cover for this?
Yeah, it was at the the lenticular.
Yeah,
it was
lenticular.
This.
But the lenticular actually had the real design, whereas this one was just sort of a mashup. Hey, Vernon.
No, Vernon. No, bad Vernon. It's not a good movie. And this is not the Michael Keaton one, Garth.
Oh, wait, so this isn't the one where Batman dies and becomes a snowman to haunt his child?
No.
Poor little Damian Wayne. No?
No.
The one where Jack Frost was originally cast with George Clooney.
Yeah. God, this movie is so bad. Yeah, this is an F. This is my first F.
Wow.
Yeah, F this movie. So, Lego.
So in this movie, Jack Frost, you can see, and I didn't workshop this joke, so I really hope it plays. You can see Elizabeth Shannon snowplowed to death. Christmas came early. There are so many puns. There's another sled decapitation, like in Silent Night, Deadly Night. Our main characters are a bunch of incompetent police officers and an incompetent scientist who's played by a guy who I definitely have seen in a lot of things, and his name I'm totally blanking on.
Yeah, he was what's his name?
See, exactly. It's one of those faces you recognize, but who knows his name?
He played a whole bunch of direct to video movies back in the 90s.
Yeah, he played a guy named Wally, and I can't remember.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think
Rob LaBelle.
Yes, that is it. Rob LaBelle.
He was Wally in Watchmen.
Jack Frost is the name of the killer before he even becomes a snowman, which is ridiculous. I'm just gonna go ahead and spoil the ending. He is murdered by antifreeze, which the cop goes into the antifreeze with him. So, public service announcement: do not bathe in antifreeze. Super gonna die if you do. So that cop, the sequel to this, there is a sequel, I haven't watched it, should just be
It's
everyone
fun.
attending the sheriff and his son's funerals.
No,
Because they dead.
no, they go on a Hawaiian vacation in the second one.
Yeah.
Of course they do.
It's absolutely
And-
ridiculous.
And the second one, speaking about recaps, the second one starts off with a recap of what they did in the last one, and then the cop is like trying to be as serious as possible, like, and then we took care of him by shoving him in antifreeze, and then the therapist is just literally sitting there, is like, you really expect me to believe all this? Like it's like, all right, throwing the assumption that a snowman can't exist. You can't just shove him into antifreeze. Like, you know what I mean? Just keep him in the box and hopefully he doesn't come back to life.
Well, they did recap the antifreeze. But what I'm saying is the best movie about a murderous snowman still remains Microwave Massacre, wherein the guy who voiced Frosty the Snowman, Jackie Vernon, plays a cannibalistic serial killer.
Nice.
I put Jack Frost in C tier.
C.
Also, everyone should watch Microwave Massacre.
I'll put that on the list.
Andres.
Yeah, I agree. This is not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination. It is not high art. It is made on less than a direct-to-video budget in the 90s, so that should tell you a lot. Having said that, I still have a ton of fun with this movie. It's so unbelievably cheesy and mean-spirited at certain points. Like, it's trying so hard to be edgy that it's failing miserably, and then it just adds to the entertainment a little more, I think. So overall, you know what? I would say this, for me, this has to go into A. For me, this is
Why, Andres?
Wow.
Look, the reason I didn't ask Vernon to be a part of this is solely because I was trying to keep Jack Frost out of the S tier.
Well, he ain't going in the S tier.
Hey.
But I mean, you're gonna throw an A at me, really? So we got F, C, and A. So it's going in C because that's the mid.
That's fine.
Above
Again,
or
like
below Christmas Evil.
Above.
above, definitely above.
Ah.
Come on, you can do it.
This one might come back up later.
Oh, I think it will come back up because I think we got some stinkers coming up later on. But yeah, no.
Hold on. I'm just doing it just to measure. There we go.
That's what she said.
No one's ever said that.
Anyways, all right. So that was Jack Frost. We started with me. So Lego, on to you. We're gonna go to Santa's sleigh.
Oh, hey, F. I yield my time. Bottom of F. Doesn't even deserve to be an F. Should be below F. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Would you care to elaborate on that?
Hated every minute of it. Have you ever watched a movie and paused
Wait for you to go, I would not.
55 seconds into this movie, I already wanted to turn it off. I loathed, despised, couldn't stand a second of it. And also, this made me realize what I really want in the world is Mick Foley as Santa, because, I mean, Goldberg works in what this film is, but if any wrestler is going to be Santa, hello, Mick Foley, come on. What are we doing here with our lives? This is just a bad movie. It's mean-spirited. It's gross. I couldn't stand a second of it. Also, the Brett Ratner of it all. I'm glad I watched an illegally uploaded copy of it. Like, no money should ever be given to this movie or those people who made it. Everything about it is ick. F. Below F. Can we make a tier below F? Could it be on the very end, opposite all the other movies, on the F, to distinguish how F? It's F.
Andres.
You know what?
Lego likes this movie.
I can't argue with what she's saying at all on this one. Again, very mean-spirited, and some of the kills are just kind of just a little, not necessarily over the top, but not necessarily delivered with or not necessarily executed with like a, this is fun type of thing. It's like they're trying so hard to be ugly that it kind of just doesn't work as an entertainment for me. The only thing that's a saving grace for this is Goldberg, and even that is like stretching credulity on that one. So I would say at the very most for me, it's a high D.
All right.
What have you got?
So I actually think the story at least is kind of funny. I like the idea that like Santa is a demon who lost a wager over a curling stone, so therefore the evil demon Santa has to be nice for like 1,000 years. That's actually not that bad of an idea. Like for Santa to actually be evil demonic being this entire time, but he is forced to be nice because of a bet. I like that. I like that idea. I like that gimmick. I do like Goldberg also playing this role too. That opening scene when you've got like James Caan and Fran Drescher at the dinner table is hilarious. I'd say this is like rivaling. If you've ever seen that movie Wishmaster, the opening scene in Wishmaster is like gloriously violent. That's what this movie does, just on a much smaller budget and much smaller acting. But yeah, I think it's great. It's trash, but it's great trash. I actually have it as a B. So
okay.
So we got F, D, and D.
Negative F. Negative F.
FDB.
This one I might be able to use as a bargaining tool to get Jack Frost in a lower one later as well. Let's just put Santa Sleigh and Jack Frost in F. So F, D, and B, I would think that would go somewhere either the end of C or the high end of D.
I would say D.
I'm going to stick at the high end of D for right now.
D, B, D, F.
This movie is a blight on cinema.
It's a bad date movie. Bad date film. BDF.
It's just a bad film.
I know PLD somewhere is going to be like, what?
What, does he like Santa Sleigh?
I think he does.
I've never been so disappointed in PLD.
Again. I think. Don't quote me on that one. I know someone.
I'm
I know
taking it as fact.
Speaking of bad movies, Andres, Black Christmas 2006.
I mean, going between this one, I mean, I don't know. I kind of feel like this one undoes a lot of things about the original that worked really well, like in terms of actually visualizing the killer on screen, and then also explaining a little more of the backstory with the mental institution and the escape. I don't know. For me, this one would be very middle of the road for me. For me, it was just fine. This one was PG-13, wasn't it?
No, that's the next one.
Okay.
This one was R.
Okay, this one was R. All right, but this one came out in 2006. So, all right. So I'm still thinking of the same one. I would give it like a. I mean, if I was to place it somewhere, it would be a C. But would that be the category that gets the three? I don't know. For me, it would be a C. Right there. It's not necessarily terrible, but it just misinterprets a lot of what made the original great. But and again, I'm trying really hard to think about any memorable moments or deaths from this movie. But all I just thought was it was just very middle of the road for me more than anything else. And I just remember just disconnecting from it a little while in the very beginning with just showing everything about the killer so far. So for me, it's like a low C for me.
Yeah, I love doing these with Lego on here because every time we're talking, Lego's down there having like a conniption. Oh my god, how dare you! This movie's for me. This is also a C. It's got some good actors. the actors that are in this, let me see real quick.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead is in this,
Yeah.
isn't she?
Kate
Yes.
Cassidy,
Katie
Oliver
Cassidy,
Hudson.
Michelle Trachtenberg, Lacey Chabray,
Yes.
Andrea Martin is like the house mother in this when she was one of the sorority sisters in the original.
Correct.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like this has some good acting, like some good star power to it. The story, for the most part, is not bad. It's very similar to the original. I think it emulates the original very well. What I don't like is the more in-depth on Billy, the killer, and especially anything having to do with his sister/daughter, Agnes. The incest, there's no reason why there should be an incest portion of story in this movie. Why is there? It's not like some like other movies where they do incest and you're like, did she just do what I think she... No, this one is blatant. Like it shows the mom in front of her son and she starts undressing. You're like, no. Bad movie, bad movie.
All right, now yeah. Now I'm starting to remember why I can't recall anything from it, because that was just blocked out of my head. I saw it in theaters and I'm like, oh no, I'm done.
It could have had like a really good shot if they just didn't dive into that. Like Billy and Agnes were characters in the original Black Santa also. Black Christmas.
Black Santa. Oh my God.
That's a whole nother movie right there.
Oh, okay.
They were characters in the original Black Christmas. They didn't have to give like the background storyline on that. It still worked. So why did we feel the need to do it here? Like, this is a C for me also. Go ahead, Lego.
Okay, so I really hate plugging things on other people's channels, but I do actually have an hour-long analysis on all three of the Black Christmas films where I go really in depth on them, particularly in terms of like film critique. As it pertains to Black Christmas, they actually utilized the background story that the original director did write for the movie and just didn't use. So they took what was already there and the implications of what he had already written for that and just used it here. And going down the history of, hey, Black Christmas is going to do something and then Halloween's going to copy it real soon later. This is exactly what Rob Zombie did when his remakes, is he explained the background of the killer. That was just very popular in that era, that early 2006. Like, let's give background on things that we didn't originally have background for, which I don't inherently think is wrong. I personally really enjoy this movie because it came out when I was in like, I think 8th grade or so. And it's high camp. This movie is so camp. I love camp. And it had all these big actors who were so huge at the time where I was growing up. So I do have just like a lot of nostalgia for this movie. I do have a lot of questions about Agnes. I have approximately all of the questions about Agnes. None of Agnes made any damn sense. That's a detractor. I don't know why they made Billy so jaundiced. That doesn't make any sense. They needed him to be a disappointments child? I don't know. Does the movie make sense? No. Is it fun? Yes. Did I put it in A tier? Of course. Did I give a sound reason for having it in A tier? Who knows? Who could say?
If nothing else, I would rank Lego's performance of her opinion of this movie as S tier.
That was very concise. Very concise.
Well, I mean, the video made an hour, so obviously, I can be concise or not. The opposite of that.
So
the antithesis.
We've got C, C, and A. So as of right now, it looks like the bottom of B. And I hate the fact that it's like sitting right next to Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
They go so well together, I promise. That is a double feature. That right there is a double feature. Get yourself some popcorn, get your favorite movie snack, whether you like a fruit candy or a chocolate candy, like go all out.
That is a sellout double feature at the New Bev. Like, seriously.
I do like William Harold. I want to see Black Santa. Tucker Carlson ranting about it would be amazing. That's great.
Lord.
Oh God.
Oh good Lord. Anyways, next movie, moving on. So we're going to go to me, and I'm covering the 2012 remake of Silent Night. So this was marketed as supposedly a remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night. Is it a remake? No, not really. Has like really nothing to do with the original Silent Night, Deadly Night. Other than like, I guess the killer at one point is supposed to be not Billy. It's supposed to be Ricky, or there's a character named Ricky or whatever. I think that's Donna Logue's character in this.
Donald Logue was in everything at that point. Like he was.
Oh no, he was Jim. Yeah.
Yeah. He was in Gotham. He was in freaking Sons of Anarchy at that point. Like he was just all over the place. And but yeah, sorry. Like go ahead.
This movie was just bad. Like it had nothing to do with Silent Night, Deadly Night. It had none of the charm of the corniness of the first two Silent Night, Deadly Nights. It actually probably in that case, it probably had more in connection with the 3, 4, and 5 of the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies, just because it had like nothing to do with the previous two. Oh no, the third one is connected to the previous two, but not really so much.
No.
Yeah. This is another one. I don't know why, but this was another movie that someone decided to make to loosely connect to a pre-existing IP, and then they get like some somewhat quasi big name actors at the time to star in it, like Jamie King and Malcolm McDowell, Donald Logue. Yeah, that's actually probably the biggest names in this. Other than Ellen Wong from Scott Pilgrim. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, Knives Chow was in this.
Knives Chow.
Yeah. And then was it like the killer of this movie had something to do with like being attacked by like a flamethrower or something? I don't know. It was stupid. It didn't make any sense.
Scarred, and then also it completely changes the dynamic where he's wearing the mask because of the fact that he's burnt, as opposed to I don't know. It hurts my brain talking about this movie.
To sum it up, this movie is an F. This movie. Lego, tell us why you want to put an S tier.
F tier. F all the way. Oh, yeah, I sat down and I watched this. I had this on my screen for the entirety of the runtime, and I stared at the screen, and all I can tell you about this movie is Malcolm McDowell was in it, and I don't like him. F tier. Don't be boring. That's the only thing you have to do, movie. Don't be boring. And you were boring.
Entertain me.
Andres.
Fuck this movie.
All right, well. That's fantastic.
I mean, I know what movies are coming up, and I'm a little concerned that you guys are putting some of these movies so low.
I mean, arguably some of the other ones have some value to them, whereas this one was just so boring. It was so just it had no purpose to exist, not even to tie into not even to use the name, because they used half of the name and they put half of the effort that the original did. So
that's going to be something that's going to come back up here in a little while.
Oh yeah, just wait.
There's one in particular. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm so concerned.
Oh, I looked at your Letterboxd. I was gonna message you right after I watched it, and I looked at your Letterboxd, Lego. You hate that movie too, so it's gonna be good. That's gonna be I can't wait for that one. Anyways, moving on. Let me see. So this is to Lego now. We're starting, and we are starting with everyone's favorite anti-Christmas movie, Krampus.
What a beautiful looking movie. This movie is just so pretty. I think the story is really cool. I hate every character and I can't stand watching it. So middle of the road movie for me. I could either go B or C. I guess I would put it in B. It's just, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's pretty popular. Like, I'm sure most people watched it. Hard to find on streaming, though. But yeah, really pretty. Don't like the characters. So it's like if they took the most annoying of the Griswolds, like the Griswolds' cousins, and just made it all about them. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah. Andres.
I know this movie is very popular, and for me, there was so many bright aspects of it. Like Adam Scott as the father was pretty much one of my bright spots. And oh my god, I keep forgetting her name, and I love her. Is it
Toni Collette?
Toni Collette. I don't know why I always think of T. Leone. It's like, no, it's Toni Collette. It's the other T, the amazing T from Hereditary. But anyway, I don't know why, but Mike Dougherty just never does it for me as a writer nor a director. Like, it always feels like it's a mashup of everything else, but it doesn't feel like it ever has an identity of its own. And even the creature in this just kind of, I mean, like the effects, or at least the work on it at least looks decent enough. But for me, the only sequence that really stands out of this is the gingerbread man sequence. But that is ripped straight out of Gremlins. So for me, this is just every other holiday movie or holiday horror movie in any way, shape, or form, just all mashed up into one. But it's all stuff that we've seen before. So for me, this is low B for me.
Okay. I would like to point out that in this movie, this is the only Christmas horror movie on this list that nobody actually dies.
No, they all get shoved in like purgatory or something.
Yeah,
like
they
that,
get
right?
shoved
They
like in
almost
the
say
bag.
elsewhere.
You say elsewhere because of the snow globe.
Yes.
Nice reference. Yeah, the problem with this movie, and I like you were saying you don't like Michael Dougherty. I love Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat, I can't believe that movie was delayed from being released, and I also can't believe that Trick or Treat had it the first time it ever played in a movie theater was this year. Trick or Treat is classic, and I will be mentioning Trick or Treat here in a little bit. But
I believe it.
I don't like Krampus. This is the story was okay. I like the idea of making a movie about the character of Krampus. I'm with Lego though. I can't stand the family. All of the bickering and the yelling and the arguing. I'm like, no, I don't want to watch that. I have enough of that in my life as is. I don't need to watch a movie of it. But again, the story kind of helps with it. I do have this as a C as well. So,
okay.
But this is probably, like I was saying earlier, there's that fine line. This is probably where the line gets drawn, and everything below it's like, oh. So we've got 2 B's and a C. So
I'd be willing to move Christmas Evil down to a D, right next to Santa's Sleigh, if we're reorganizing other categories.
Yeah. Are you okay with that, Lego? Lego is all in favor of anything that moves Santa's Sleigh closer to F.
I mean, that's true. Whatever you guys want to do is fine.
So
I'm not picky.
Because it's very middle of the road, but I think it deserves a little more merit than Christmas Evil, because at least
And
it was
Jack Frost.
on.
yeah,
well,
I'm moving Jack Frost also.
Yeah.
Anything I can do to get that closer to F.
All right, I see how it is. That's fine.
But yeah, at least Krampus was trying to stick on point to what a Christmas movie was supposed to be.
Okay, now I have to pretend I like some other movies on this list more than I do, so I can get Santa's Sleigh down.
Okay. Who knows? We might all be on the same. We might all be on the same wavelength. Maybe all the S tier and all the A tier movies are going to be the 3.
I mean, there's still a couple of really good ones here.
Yeah.
So,
some of these could move up.
Yeah. So, Andres.
Yes.
Let's go with the Christmas Horror Story.
So you want Santa Slay to move closer to an F, right? Yeah, dick it. Yeah. I don't know. For me, truthfully, I remember opening my eyes and sitting down and watching this movie like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I can't recall a single thing that was memorable about it. It just had very cheap effects. It was just not my bag in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. It felt very much like like you're watching, like you're looking at this cover and it kind of feels like, oh, maybe it's like a cheaper version of Krampus, and it's really not that either. It's just so plain forgettable for me. So I would say dick it. Go ahead.
So D?
Dick it.
Yeah. Give it the D. Yeah, if only this movie was half as good as this like cover image here.
And this cover image is not even all that good. It's like a God of War ripoff too.
You know the one thing that was really good about this movie, or sorry, there's two things really good about this movie. One thing was William Shatner as a DJ.
Oh my God.
That was funny. And then the second thing is George Buza as Santa Claus in this, as the Santa Claus. If you don't know, George Buza was the voice of Beast from the X-Men animated series during the 90s. He was also he had a cameo in the first X-Men movie. He was the truck driver that dropped Rogue off at the bar at the beginning. This is Lutland City. Yeah. So yeah, that's Santa Claus in this movie. Again, I'm gonna bring back up Trick or Treat, because this movie is clearly trying to emulate Trick or Treat. It is a movie that is consistent of vignettes, like individual stories. It's like an anthology. The difference here is this movie, the way this movie was edited, is it jumps around bits and pieces of each vignette. They're not really connected. I mean, the only thing that's loosely connected is because of William Shatner's DJ. We know something is going on like at a mall, but we don't know what, and that's it. We've got kids that are trapped in school trying to research about like a ghost or something. We've got a couple where the father is a cop who saw like the kids previously trapped in the school that became ghosts or whatever. He's traumatized because of that. So they're trying to find their son who got lost in the woods. And then there's the Santa here that is dealing with his elves becoming zombies.
But see, I did kind of like that story a little.
That would have been funny if that would have been a movie on its own. But
if honestly, that one had a very Joe Dante Gremlins type of vibe to it more than anything else.
Yeah.
I thought, like, but again, like as we're talking about it, certain things are starting to come back to me, and I'm like, oh yeah, my eyes did lay on that, but I couldn't even tell it was like a vignette story because like the editing was so all over the place too.
That's what they're doing. So like typically in an anthology, you get like the full story and then it moves on to the next full story. This one, the editing bounces between like each of the stories. There's a fourth one here regarding a family that's going to visit their grandma. Basically, the fourth story is Krampus. It is the movie Krampus that we just talked about condensed down. Like the family is full of people who hate each other, that are always arguing and bickering about something or another, and they still have to deal with Krampus. It's the same thing. It's just compressed and shoved into this movie. This movie's not fun.
No.
Like the individual stories, had they been like their own individual movie and fleshed out, some of those might have been interesting. The stuff with the couple that lose their kid, that had some potential to it, but because it was shaved down to this tiny little story and shoved in all the other ones, this movie's just not good. Yeah, it takes forever for the individual stories to get to their own point, much like my review of this movie. So yeah, I give this a D also. Just it's not the most awful thing I've ever seen, but it's not great. So, Lego.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So I don't like anthologies to begin with, but having them edited in such a way that they're not their own concise story. I was watching the movie the whole time trying to like connect the plots because, like a normal person, that's how you generally watch a film. You know what I mean? Because that's how narrative structure works. But this being what it was, I wish I'd known going in that they weren't going to connect. I probably would have liked it a little more. I thought the makeup effect on the Krampus creature was pretty good. And that's really the most positive thing I could say about it. Captain Kirk's cool. Ooh. But it was just boring. So D tier.
Yeah. And the shot on the cover is like the last 20 seconds of the movie.
Yeah. I would like a whole movie about Santa fighting his elf zombies.
Yeah.
Or an elf uprising to defeat Santa Claus and be free of his enslavement of them. I think that's just Willy Wonka. Never mind.
That's it.
The Oompa Loompas. That would be a thing. Like, let's take regular horror movies and horrify them like that. Make it like a scary Willy Wonka with all the Oompa Loompas. Like, no, we don't want to be your slave.
think the original Willy Wonka is already a horror movie.
Yeah, but I mean,
that boat sequence.
Push it. Yeah, the boat sequence alone. Yeah. So we got 3 Ds on this. We got a triple D, and yeah, this is a big stinker of a movie.
You know what? If we're gonna put 3 Ds on this one, I'd be okay moving Santa's sleigh a little lower then.
So, do we want to move Santa's sleigh?
At least for
I'm
now.
not putting anything else in F.
I am.
Oh,
really?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Wait. I think I know where you're going with this. Okay.
If you put Black Christmas 2019 in F, I'm gonna raise hell.
What's that one? Silent Night? God, these are some terrible movies. Okay, so we're going to put it there, and then we'll put Christmas Horror. I will put Christmas Horror Story under Christmas Evil. Because at least fair. Christmas Evil is classic-ish.
A classic is a word that you used in that sentence.
Yeah. It stars the father of Fiona Apple, and without him, we wouldn't have that song "Criminal," which would be criminal not to have that song. So,
get out.
That's not one of the.
I don't know any words you just used.
Oh, you haven't heard "Criminal" by Fiona Apple? It's a great song.
It's a good song.
Anyways, so we started with Andres. We're gonna start with me on this. Mm-hmm. Better watch out. So First and foremost, before we talk about this movie, panel and chat, if y'all have seen this movie, if you know anything about this movie, please do not spoil it. This is a movie that I would have put up there with Barbarian or Malignant. This isn't a movie you really want to know anything about before watching it. Lego's losing her mind again. This movie was very well done. And It's small. It's confined to this house. It's very simplistic, but it is really good. The acting of these characters, they pull off what they're trying to do, and I think they do very well with it. I absolutely love this movie, and in fact, I need to watch it again now that it's around the holiday season. I'm in the mood for this, and I think this one I'm actually trying to see if I can get my brother to watch too, because he could probably watch this. And I don't know if he knows any of the spoilers for it. So, But yeah, this is a great movie. I actually, because of the other movies that I like more, I did put this as a B. But if it wasn't for some other movies, this would definitely be going higher because I'm always singing the praises of this movie every Christmas. Mm-hmm. So, Lego, let's get your thoughts.
You want me to talk about this without spoiling? Oh, dear. First, well, I think there's a very different perspective for a man who would rate this as a B versus me, not a man, who's going to put it in D. This movie has a very different connotation for anyone who is assigned female at birth watching it. It's like, let me watch Ted Bundy's origin story. D.
Wait. Whose origin story?
Ted Bundy.
That makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like my worst nightmare come to fruition. Like, if you actually legitimately want to be kind of scared, this is real life. Welcome to hell.
Yeah, I can see. Like, if I'm trying to think of like a female perspective of this movie, I can see that. Yeah, this movie is like absolutely terrifying. So now, so the thing is, you're wanting to put it as a D. Here's the thing. Again, without really fully spoiling it, though, is this a realistic movie, or is it like, I don't know how to word this.
Well, I mean, is it realistic that
women have to deal, or they have to deal with the stuff that this movie brings up, and so therefore, like, kind of like, this is kind of the same thing I feel like we'll talk about with the next Black Christmas here in a little while, that like women have to deal with this stuff because that's just the way guys are in some cases, which is sickening.
Yeah.
But is this movie an accurate portrayal of that? Unlike, say, Black Christmas 2019, it's not quite an accurate portrayal of why, but of the goofiness it is.
Take out the murder. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's why I'm wondering, like, for a female perspective of this movie does a very good job of making her strong and tough while having to deal with like completely douchey guys, basically.
Yeah.
So I can still see why this would rank low, because it is very
trauma.
Uh-huh.
Whenever I hear the word trauma, it always comes out in Jamie Lee Curtis's voice now.
Trauma.
Yeah. Andres, tell us about why you think this is the best movie in the world after everything Lego just said.
I've set you up for failure.
Oh boy. See, I absolutely do agree with your perspective on this one as well too. I in no way, shape, or form don't doubt that this movie is flat out like a babysitter's nightmare, for lack of a better word. And also just I mean, like, it's so tough to talk about this without going into spoilers. But but the thing is, I think she, I mean, like you said, Rob, like, she is a strong character in her own right to a certain extent, in terms of being able to deal with all this really terrible stuff happening all around her. And especially when you get to the twist, it's one of those where you're like, oh God, that is horrible. But also the lengths that is being delved into for this and for this entire scenario by that third act, you're just like, you just feel really bad for her. But also at the same time, I don't know, there's almost like there's almost like a strength to her, just in terms of not wanting to be the victim in all this, and then also just where it all leads to a head. I thought it was really, really cool. It was really well done, but it definitely did straddle that line, I thought. So I'm in agreement with both of you on this, but if I had to give it a grade, it would go A for me. Because out of all these movies, it's the one that I think is probably has more craft to it. It has more believable casting choices in this, despite how some of these people are actually played off, and how some of these people are actually written to be. And it works. It's a truly horrifying movie to a certain extent. It absolutely does work. So, I mean, I see exactly why you would grade it low, and you know, that's there is no doubt in my mind of why it's as low as it is, without going into too many spoilers. But you know, I'm just saying, as just throwing some of the Home Alone-isms in there and trying to make it a little more fun and gory. I
think they even like specifically referenced Home Alone, which I thought was fun.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. But oh man, it's so tough to talk about this without any spoilers whatsoever. But I think if anyone who sticks around all the way up to the third act, at least, there's a twist that comes out of nowhere that you're just like, what? But then also at the same time, it's very grounded. It doesn't feel like it came out of nowhere. It doesn't feel like a third act twist. And when you rewatch the movie, they foreshadow the shit out of that twist all the way through.
Yeah.
So there you go. But anyway, I thought it was great. And if it's going to end up as a B, I'm perfectly fine with it being a B.
Yeah. I will take arguments for that one here in a little bit again. Let's see where the two last remaining movies land on here.
Let's see.
So we're going to start off with Lego. Hold on.
Uh-oh. Is he moving F?
Pause for the sneeze. All right.
Bless you.
All right, Lego. Anna and the Apocalypse.
S tier. I love this movie. It is a perfect freaking film. It's got Christmas. It's a musical. It has zombies. This is everything I love about the movies and more. Oh man, it's so good. I'm not saying that Human Voice was my third most listened to song on Spotify this year, but it was. I listened to this soundtrack almost on a daily basis, at least one song from it. The songs are great. The characters are so great, and you like all of them so, so much, except for the one character you're not supposed to like, who's just the biggest D-bag.
Savage?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we prioritize.
Yeah.
That's just a vicious line. What a vicious, vicious line. And, all of the songs are really, heartfelt, particularly once the zombie apocalypse has started. And I feel like there's a lot of very realistic reactions, like the one kid telling the other kid that Taylor Swift's definitely a zombie, and the other kid going, no, Tay-Tay is not a zombie.
Yeah.
And we're talking about whether or not Robert Downey Jr. would be a zombie or not. It's just really funny. Very cute. The reaction to seeing a zombie the first time is to just take your backpack and hit it over the head, then run away. Yes, absolutely. It's very fun. Absolutely love it. Totally S tier for me. This is the highest movie on my list.
Yeah. Andres?
All right. I absolutely agree with everything you said on this one. This one I walked into without knowing a single thing about it. All I knew was the title, walked into it, and then came out of it, and I was like, wow, that was just so joyful and so much fun. How many of these movies can you say about that in particular? And this one knows exactly what it wants to be. It's having fun with the tropes. Anna is just lovable all the way through. So honestly, for me, it's an A movie for me. It's a high A.
I have this as an A also. I was contemplating whether I want to make this a third S.
I'm right there with you.
Which I will take arguments for that if we want to discuss that here in a little bit. But yeah, the thing I will point out about the songs, and Lego kind of alluded to it, most of the songs in this movie are not necessarily Christmas focused. You could theoretically listen to this soundtrack all year round, especially the first, other than the opening title credit song that obviously is Christmas. The next 4 or 5 songs have nothing to do with Christmas for the most part.
It feels. For me, the Christmas element of this movie almost feels like a Shane Black way, where it's you know what? It's taking place on Christmas, but the thematics are not necessarily about Christmas in sort of the usual iconography that we see. There's certain definite moments, but it's kind of tough because I remember I saw this on the list and I was like, is that a Christmas movie? It's oh yeah, it is a Christmas movie. But but simply based on all that, no, I absolutely agree.
Yeah, this movie is absolutely great. I watched it again. Was it last night? I watched this and then I watched Mad God for the first time. And don't do that. Just watch this movie. Don't watch anything else. This will be the movie. This is one of the movies that you watch as your final movie during your time on the planet.
Yeah, this was one of those movies that was out for a very, very, very limited release. And I was so glad I caught it in a theater at least, because this is one of those that it should have been released in a much bigger milieu, in a much bigger theatrical release. And just the fact that it didn't catch on in the theatrical sense, but it caught on video pretty fast though, and it caught on Netflix. So
and Spotify.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm just pretending. But again, I do listen to it a lot.
No. I know a ton of people that listen to the soundtrack for this, but then again, all those people I know are like massive horror fans as well. So yeah, it's
it is also strongly Scottish, but not so strong that you can't understand what people are saying. It doesn't have like a thick, heavy accent. This isn't like Train Spotting where you can't understand. You have to watch with subtitles on. This movie is easy to watch. It goes down easy. And the songs are extremely each of the songs, by the time the song's ending, I'm already singing along and I don't know the words type of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a great movie. Andres, you had this as an A also?
Yes.
Okay. So SAA.
I would put it above Silent Night, Deadly Night for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. It's tough to argue that one.
There might be no such thing as a Hollywood ending, but this movie comes close. Getting its just fruits. That's not the saying. It's getting its
just
flowers?
Desserts.
Just desserts.
Yeah, just desserts. There you go. I got you.
All right. I don't all of a sudden now I don't want to do this next one.
Why? Because the next one's going to be on an F.
But it's the last one, so we can't end this without doing the last one. So we have to talk about 2019's Black Christmas. Oh my God. We're gonna start with Andres. So wait, before we actually start, okay. The three of us, I don't know if anyone in the chat is familiar with this, but do we really want to start this one? Lego, feel free to nod or shake your head, whatever. Do we really want to start talking about this one with the two guys on the panel first?
I'll take this.
Let's go ahead and let Lego start here.
Okay.
It's just going to look weird, I think.
This 2019 movie that just happens to be called Black Christmas for really no reason was directed by a woman, so I will give it props for that, and is supposed to be about toxic masculinity. So, of course, they got Carrie Elwes, who was also the big bad toxic masculinity villain from the Craft Legacy film, which I think are two of the worst pro-female made horror movies to have been made. I wanted to like this movie so much. You go into a movie and you're like, I love the first two Black Christmases. Like I was talking about the other one. I have a lot of nostalgia for it. I really, really wanted to like this movie. And I think it's just fine. I think it had a lot of potential with this. Even if they utilized the story that they did, I think it had a lot of potential. I also kind of understand not wanting to remake a Black Christmas in its original storyline, because I do think having the man escape from an institutionalization situation is very harmful and negatively impactful in terms of the stigma that we have towards people who are mentally ill, particularly people who are kind of extremely so and have like psychotic episodes. So I'm really glad that we've kind of moved away from that, because it was so big in the 70s and 80s because of Black Christmas and because of Halloween, which have pretty much bare bones the same plot. So I like the removal of that. In my very long essay about the film, I thought that it would have been more interesting if the main female character, Riley, was the killer and that she was killing the frat guys in their house. I thought that would have been a much more interesting way to kind of turn it and to have that kind of assault revenge storyline, which I think would be interesting for a female filmmaker to tackle, because typically that is tackled by men. And having a horror movie where the frat boys are being picked off one by one is something that, I mean, the closest I can think to anything like that would be like The Covenant, which is not the plot to that at all. But we don't have movies where guys are being picked off one by one. So I thought that would be really, really cool with a female killer, a really powerful, good for her movie. That's not what this is. It was just I mean, the end battle was kind of cool. It didn't make sense. It was just a wacky movie. I feel like I'll like it if I watched it a second time a lot more than the disappointment that I felt for it the first time. So honestly, I would just put it in C. I do like it a lot more than a lot of the movies on this list. And I do think it's a lot more well made, inarguably, than the bottom movies on this list. But overall, it's just not that great. And I wish that it hadn't have been a Black Christmas movie. I wish it had maybe been like a remake of something like, I feel like doing it as like The Society, but having The Society be men instead of rich people would have been really interesting and a kind of great subversion of what you would come to expect in The Society. And also the shunting would have been a lot more weird. Anyway, there you go. It's a C tier for me.
I think the shunting, if they were to do the shunting at the end of this one, it'd be a lot more like homoerotic. And I don't know, that would have been like interesting for a lot of people. But yeah. Andres, yeah. Go ahead.
You know, I mean, honestly, we're on the same page on this one. I really wanted to love this movie. I mean, like, I remember seeing the trailers for it and I'm like, oh, you know, it's Blumhouse. They're subverting the expectations for this one. But ultimately, at the end of the day, this one just kind of it was fine. It didn't wow me, but also before I saw the list of all these movies again, I kind of forgot that it even came out. And you mentioned the Craft Legacy. That is also another Blumhouse freaking sequel requel type of movie that just went straight under the radar. And this one, I mean, like, I agree with every single thing you said as well. I think the problem with this one is that they were trying so hard to subvert expectations in one end, but they weren't necessarily putting put it this way. The best way I can say it, it's Ian Malcolm saying, yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied whether or not they didn't stop and think that they should go down that route. And, you know, like you said, all those story aspects about turning it and having it just be going after the frat boys, that would have been a much more amazing plot if they stuck with something like that. But this just kind of, at the end of the day, it was just, I don't know, it was very predictable. I mean, would you agree on that as well? I mean, like, it's just
I mean, I didn't predict that end battle.
Well, again, leading all the way up to that end battle,
yeah.
Like, it's I'm trying to be as vague as possible on this without spoiling too much.
Oh,
but
I'm probably going to spoil a bit of that end. So
I mean, when I said it was about toxic masculinity, I was being very literal. This movie is very literal.
Okay.
There is no such thing as nuance or metaphor in this film.
No, not at all. But I agree. It's for me, I like it better than Krampus, so I'm going to put it as a high C for me. So go ahead, spoil away, Rob, because I know you have a lot to say about this.
This movie checks off a three strikes and you're out thing. First thing, this movie has nothing to do with Black Christmas. The only things connecting this movie to the previous two Black Christmases is, well, one, there is somewhat of a sorority involved, although they're barely ever there.
Really?
Two, there's like 2 deaths that they do in this movie that are emulating the original, like getting stabbed with the horse. Someone gets stabbed with the horse statue, and then someone else dies by getting like the plastic bag over their head.
That I think was new, though.
No, that's in the original. That's in the image of the original here. She's got a bag over her head sitting in that chair.
You're right.
Yeah, those are the only things that tie this movie back to the original Black Christmas. Otherwise, this movie has nothing to do with Black Christmas. The Child's Play remake in 2019 had more to do with Child's Play than this movie has to do with Black Christmas, and that's bad. Strike 2. This movie's PG-13. No. Strike 3, and this is going to be like Lego. You made really good points on that, but there's one thing that I feel like pushes it even beyond that I'm like, and this is the spoilery part.
Okay.
the reason the guys are such douchebags in this movie is because of a supernatural like curse or the toxic liquid coming from this bust.
Yeah.
They're
Toxic
douches on their
masculinity.
own. Yeah, it's a good joke, absolutely. But they're blaming it. They're blaming their behavior on something supernatural instead of like what they should do is let them just be terrible douchebag, like alpha male, whatever fucking morons, and let it's a venom symbiote basically. Let the women get their revenge on them. But no, they say like these guys aren't actually bad. There's no such thing as an actually bad douchey alpha male. And it completely like wipes away what I feel like is the trouble that the women in this movie have to go through. It's like, don't worry about it. It's a curse. It's a supernatural thing. They're actually good boys at heart. And like,
can I amend what you're saying?
Yeah, it's okay if I'm not getting out right.
But trying to say, I think it was more attempting to kind of connect the toxic liquid with gender socialization, saying that men independently can be good people because they can be, but when exposed to the larger culturalization that you engage in being a member of a society, you're getting the locker talk, you're getting the boys will be boys, you're getting this bad behavior that's perpetuated and accepted by society. So I think that's more what I was intending to say. So also, I read a lot.
They did that in a visual medium with the toxic ooze coming out of the bust. Yeah, I just like I didn't like the fact that it did explain it away that way. Like I actually like, if I want these women to beat the shit out of the frat brothers here, and I want it to be like good, but I just felt like they were trying to explain their bad behavior. Like like you said, the boys will be boys. But I mean, that is essentially how like a lot of the stereotypical frats are anyways, without the supernatural black toxic ooze actually emanating from a bust of their whatever the person who founded the fraternities.
I was going to say, all the college stuff didn't make sense to me. I don't know where this person who wrote the movie went to college, but my university was very different.
Yeah, we're homeschooled.
Again, I think that was just something that they shoved into this movie to like, oh, it's like the original. There's a sorority and a fraternity in here. So that makes it a Black Christmas movie. Yeah, I
would have preferred if it was a ghost or something. They were
I didn't. So that aside, now all of that, the acting wasn't bad, but some of the script and some of the choices that they do are terrible. When she goes to the campus security to try to get him involved, and she's like, I got these DMs. And he's like, what's a DM? And then she has to explain. He's like, oh, yeah, DM, direct messages. I know those. Like, that was just a stupid interaction. And just, it made my head hurt. Just, yeah, I did not like this movie. I had this movie as an F. But
2 C's and an F.
I mean, so it's going to go.
So we're going to give it another D?
Yeah. So that being the final movie, do we want to move anything around? Yes, we want to move stuff around.
I would say let's move Christmas Evil. I would put it above Christmas Evil, actually.
The Black Christmas?
Yeah, the Black Christmas remake.
Okay.
The second Black Christmas remake.
Do we want to put Christmas Horror Story down to F and give F3, or do you want to give D3 and make this the bottom of D?
I'd keep D3.
Yeah, D3.
Okay.
D3.
And not just because it rhymes.
I was like, is this like, are we getting a Disney announcement? That's D23, but
I was thinking of that too.
I was thinking the third Mighty Ducks movie.
Okay, I was also thinking that.
Yeah, D3.
Because I actually did like D3. Quack, quack, quack.
Quack, 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 Mr. Ducksworth. Do we want to move anything else around? I would take suggestions of let's move Anna and the Apocalypse up and move Silent Night, Deadly Night, make those the 2A, and then B will end up just having 2. B would have Black Christmas and Better Watch Out.
Okay.
I'd be okay with that.
Because I'm probably not going to get Jack Frost in F, so...
I don't think that one's you're gonna swing that one.
I think we'll get much more credit for giving Anna and the Apocalypse an S. Like all of our favorites all made it to the S tier, so I think that's great for all of us.
I would say like most of my like major favorites are at least an S and A.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there you go. Plus, also, it's just kind of funny to see Silent Night, Deadly Night in both 1 and 2 be the A tier movies.
Now, the question, though, and I was thinking about this earlier, is that the proper order for them? Would you still say the original ranks higher than the second one?
Yes.
I think so. Yes.
I don't know. That garbage.
Although Linnea Quigley's death scene is in both.
And yeah. Okay, so that's what we've got it at. We've got Gremlins, Black Christmas, the 1974 Black Christmas, and Anna and the Apocalypse in A or in S. A is both Silent Night, Deadly Night. B, we got 2006 Black Christmas and Better Watch Out. C, we've got Krampus in 1990. What did I say? 97, 98? I can't remember. Yeah. 1997's Jack Frost. D, we got 2019 Black Christmas, Christmas Evil, Christmas Horror Story, and F is Santa's Sleigh and Silent Night, and F those movies. We're good with that.
Although, if we want to put Santa's Sleigh even further into F, what if we move Christmas Story down?
Yeah, that's what I was suggesting. Like, do we want to drop it down? And kind of like fulfilling the prophecy at the beginning of this that we have the 3 and S. And 3 and F.
For sheer sake of having S and F be the ones that are front loaded, yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. It's not because you want Santa's Sleigh to go even further down into F as possible.
I mean, I'm just benefiting from listen, we all visually wanted to look organized. Come on, let's not pretend like that's not true.
Like we were just calling this to begin with anyway, so.
Honestly, I thought after a little bit that it was going to be B and C that were going to be front loaded.
Usually when we've been doing these, especially there was a couple, I think primarily the 80s cult movies that me, Lego, and Tori did back in October. For a while there, most of what we were ranking were all going like C, B, D. They were going like right in that middle section.
Oh yeah, and also the Cruise action movies, I think, also did that as well, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so there you go. Prophecies are fulfilled.
Yeah. Anyways, that's where these are going to land. So yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and have Carl take this down. That was weird.
Coral.
Yeah,
Coral.
Anyways, so I will make that look nice and presentable. I will post it to the Cinefanatics Twitter tomorrow for people to have their agreements or disagreements over. I don't know. Like the past couple of times we've been doing this, I've been very curious as to what someone may or may not want to disagree with us on. And I don't know really if there's going to be anything too disagreeable.
I don't think anyone's going to disagree on our top 3 for sure, because I have all those 3. Those are the best ones.
Yeah, I feel like that's what I'm looking at is like the ones that are either like an F or D, or the ones like I can understand if people want to argue about Silent Night, Deadly Night 1 and 2 being an A. In which case I would say like you need to go watch Silent Night, Deadly Night again if you don't think that's like not an A tier movie. Go rewatch those movies because they're phenomenally horrible, but they're still good. Anyways, Before we get going, so the next Marquee is 2 weeks from tonight. This was kind of like a one-off coming back and doing like the Christmas horror movies. I've been wanting to do a Christmas horror Marquee, so thank you both for being here. But we have to come back to reality and go talk about regular, honest to God, good Christmas movies. So 2 weeks from tonight on I believe that is the 23rd, right before the Christmas weekend kicks off, we will be back doing the Marquee with my brother and special guest, Tori. We will be tier ranking Christmas movies. And before anyone asks, no, we've never tier ranked Christmas movies on the Marquee before. So this will be the first time we're tackling most of these. So be prepared. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of holly, a lot of jolly, a lot of good, honest Christmas movies. And I can't wait for that. So that is coming up on the 23rd at 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. It's so weird, like showing something so beautiful and like the Winter Wonderland and all the holly jolly, and then we're back to this like horror background. So, yes, thank you for that face, Andres. Before we get going, thank y'all to everyone who is watching. Andres, let's start with you. Plug away.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Gallegos. You can also find me on twitch.tv as Gallegos209. You can also find me on the High Voltage Media channel, where we do a couple of retrospectives on like video games. We just put out a retrospective on 2003's Manhunt, the old school horror PS2 game.
Ooh, I always wanted to play that. I saw it, but I never got a chance to play it, and it looked awesomely brutal.
It's probably maybe the most brutal game I've ever played in my entire life. But it also has probably one of my favorite vocal performances in any video game, which is Brian Cox as the mad director. And if you love sickening stuff, this is absolutely your bag. So yeah, you can go ahead and you can check that out on High Voltage, youtube.com/High Voltage Media. And we're going to be coming out with a couple more reviews later on down the line. We're working on getting Drag Me to Hell done with a good friend of ours, Jamie Dirac from comicbook.com. So it's gonna be a lot of great stuff coming forward. And then Drag Me to Hell is so good.
It's like my favorite PG-13 horror movie.
I forget it's PG-13 at certain points. It's like,
yeah,
you got to give it credit for that.
Yeah.
But there's that. But I'd also be remiss if I didn't say you can also find me on Film on Tap with my great co-hosts Tom Chattelbash and Nancy Rodriguez. We just get together every 2 weeks and we talk about movies, and we're going to be reviewing Avatar: Way of Water in 2 weeks from now. We just put out an episode this week, so go ahead and check that out. We just reviewed speaking about violent Christmas movies, Violent Night we just reviewed, so go ahead and check that out.
I know like some people were asking if that was going to be on the list for tonight. Technically, Violent Night is not a horror movie. It's more of like a Christmas version of like John Wick. It's just an action movie with an action Santa Claus, so not horror. So, Lego, what would you like to plug?
Yes. Hello. Lego Land 13 found places on the YouTubes. I make videos about things. Sometimes they're educational. Sometimes they're ranty. A lot of times they're about sharks. As mentioned earlier, I do have like an hour-long video essay on Black Christmas. I just posted today one explaining the term the male gaze, because a lot of people don't know what that means. And I thought I could help people out with understanding what that means and why it's important. Yada, yada, yada. Also on Thursday nights, it can be found, unfortunately, on the Rob Fishbeck Network. Sadly, don't turn into that, but I'm obligated to plug it. Sadly, again.
And we got PLD in the chat just as we're ending. So, PLD, I await your opinion of our decisions on Twitter tomorrow. So,
PLD, I gotta know if there's one of those movies. If you like it, it might kill me.
Anyways, you can find me here as a part of the Cinefanatics, youtube.com/Cinefanatics. You're already here, so I don't know why I said the address. But while you are here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, because you like the conversation we had on this tonight. It was a lot of fun. I also like the fact that we're ending one of these in under 2 hours. So go us. Anyways, make sure you follow us at Cinefanatics MLP on Twitter and Instagram. And you can follow me personally at Robert Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. You can also follow me at youtube.com/@Robert Adams MLP whenever I decide to stream again. Who knows? We've got awesome things coming down the pipeline. We've been doing podcasts lately. Our last podcast episode was a lot of fun. We're talking about what actually makes a movie a Christmas movie. And yes, we are talking about Die Hard, but listen to that with an open mind. And it's not that we're trying to argue or convince you that Die Hard is or isn't a Christmas movie. We're just talking about the argument itself, like what actually does constitute a Christmas movie. We talk about a lot more than just Die Hard. So go check that out almost anywhere you get podcasts. And there's also a video form for you to video well on this YouTube channel right here. There's my Clockwork Orange reference for tonight. Not a Christmas horror movie, but probably should be. I think Christmas is in there at some point. Sure. Why not? Anyways, make sure you follow us. We got the Marquee in 2 weeks. We got Tagline on Wednesday nights. I don't think we're going to have a podcast this next Tuesday. We'll see. But otherwise, yeah, that's all the fun things we've got coming up. Again, make sure you subscribe and hit like. And if you're watching this on a replay, comment below. What did you think of our options, our choices? Were we ranked everything? Be interesting. Anyways, that's it for tonight. Thank you all for watching. Those of y'all in the chat, thank you for being here. We very much appreciate it. We will see y'all next time. Everyone have a good night.